Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Direct to Video Connoisseur. You will notice in a few moments when the accent is quite different that I am not joined by Matt this week. Also, that explains me introducing the show. I'm Jamie, by the way. Matt is away getting married, and so he chose not to be here tonight. I have no idea why, but I guess he thought he had more important things to do. But
Piffle.
stepping in his stead is my good friend, and well, you guys already know him. This is Jon Cross.
Hello,
Welcome, John.
everybody.
Thank you so much for joining me tonight and not leaving me flapping in the wind all by myself to try to discuss a movie all by
I
myself.
think maybe I'd rather leave you flapping in the wind. That sounds far more exciting. I didn't realize that was the two options. I didn't realize my options were come do the show or leave you flapping in the wind.
Well, I guess we'll know what happens next week because Matt won't be with us either, and John is supposed to be filling in then. So
Yeah.
be prepared for me to be flapping in the wind next week. I'll try to figure out between now and then what exactly that entails.
Yes. No, I'll be here next Wednesday.
Yay!
Yes. No, I'll be here next Wednesday as far as I'm aware. I have it on my calendar. Yes.
Well,
Next
that means
Wednesday and this Wednesday, you'll get sick and tired of me.
that means that it's a done deal if it's on your calendar.
No flapping. Yeah, it does. If it goes up on the almighty wall calendar of Cross, then it's happening, and it's law and it's fact, as far as I'm aware.
So there's really no telling what's going to happen with the show tonight because
No.
typically my version of being on direct to video is not my zoo, not my monkeys. I mean, it's Matt's problem. It's
Not
sort
my
of,
zoo. No, that's cool. I like
um, I just throw it to him and let him handle it, and then I sit back and snicker if things go poorly, which they don't because Matt is amazing. But so I don't know. We're gonna have fun with this, and so welcome everyone, and thanks for joining us.
that. Yes. Hello,
And
everybody.
tonight we're going to be talking about the film Bad Milo. We
Bad
had
Milo.
originally another film planned, and John got a head start on that one and said, "Nope, not good." And I said, "Okay, well, let's find something else."
Well, we
So
could talk about that very quickly because I want to hear the chat room if anyone's seen it. It was because I'm a big Ip Man fan, and
So am I. That's why I was really excited to do a Donnie Yen film. I actually suggested it, and Matt would be so fucking proud of me. You have no idea. He would be so proud of me for recommending this Donnie Yen film. And then it turns out, well, I didn't even start watching it, So, John,
yeah,
give us
what was it? It was Special ID, right?
special ID. Yes.
Yeah, and I don't know if anyone's seen it or if anyone's bothered to delve into it, but I mean, if now I may have been judging it on the first couple of fight sequences, but I think don't you put your best stuff like up front and then at the end, right? To kind of
Well, yeah, you'd think
right.
just like anything, you want to have a strong beginning, a strong end, hopefully a strong middle, but sometimes you can lull in there. But as long as you bring them back at the end, it can be okay.
It's good
But
to
I
have a
would
strong
definitely
end.
I would expect an I would expect an action film to want to open with something powerful,
Yes.
and
And
exciting and
if it's
actiony.
anything to go by the first couple of fight sequences, I was like, I don't have a strong enough end for this movie, is what I felt like.
Yeah, that's happened one other time on this show. And again, that was a film that I suggested, and I can't even remember now what it was, but I'm the one who got maybe 3 to 5 minutes into it. I was like, I'm not feeling this one. And I was
Yeah.
like, Matt, bail, abort. We're not doing this movie. And I wasn't feeling it, and sometimes if you're not feeling it, then that's just the way it goes. And with this show, since we never really commit to what we're going to be doing next week, we can sort of keep it to ourselves. We can do whatever we want. So
Yeah,
in this
exactly.
case, John was like, I don't think so. And I said, fine with me. So then we settled on Bad Milo, which both of us had been interested in seeing just based on the cast. And I hadn't really heard that much about it. I actually hadn't heard anything about it. But Netflix, according to Netflix, the average rating is almost 4 stars.
Yeah.
Like one little point away from 4 stars. So I was like, okay, I'm down with this. Plus, like I said, the cast was strong. I mean, Peter Stormare is in this movie, and I love him. I just think he's a delight. And so Stephen Root and Ken Marino, Gillian Jacobs, it looked like it was going to be.
I believe she goes by Gillian
Yeah.
Jacobs,
Oh,
which
no,
is
see.
stupid because it's
I
Gillian.
have
Um,
no idea, but
but yeah,
yeah,
she calls
I will
herself
trust you on that.
Gillian,
I
so
will
I
trust you on
apologize
that
for that.
because everyone knows the British pronounce things way better than Americans anyway.
Indeed.
So
No, if I ever met her, I would call her Gillian, and if she went Gillian, I would just give her that look that says, "Really, you want to go there?" Uh,
I would say, you know what? Anderson says no. That's
yeah.
what I would say.
Well, it's like she shouldn't be Scarlett Johansson. She should be Scarlett Johansson, is what she should be. But she goes by Scarlett Johansson. It's just, it's wrong, but it's fine.
And we actually have a town here, spelled like Jason Statham, but our town here is Statham. So for the longest time, I was just like, "Oh, his name is Statham," and then, of course, no one ever knows what to call him. It's Statham, Statham, Statham. I
Right.
mean, it's like he has 27 different pronunciations for his name, and
Not in
um,
my house, weirdly.
but yeah. And honestly, as soon as I heard how you pronounced it, I went with that because he's British, you're British. I said,
Yeah.
"Hey, it must be right,"
And that's how he pronounces it.
and that's good enough for me.
Yeah. He goes,
Um,
"Hello, Jason Statham."
Um, so do you have anything you want to cover before we jump into the movie? Anything you want to say? Any
No.
congratulations you want to hand out to anyone?
Oh well. Oh well. If you're saying
No one
that
specific. I'm just curious.
we
Yeah.
should congratulate Matt definitely on tying the knot, getting hitched, wrapping his leg around the old ball and chain, or wrapping the old ball and chain around his leg, whatever he wants to say. Despite my year, I am still a big advocate for it. If you're with the right person and you've buy into the tradition, and I mean, I think that's important. I think that marriage is awesome. So yeah. Enjoy, congrats, all
Well,
good things, Matt.
Jen seems to be a really awesome chick. She is very supportive of what he does. She watches films with him, and I've never had the pleasure of actually speaking to her, but I hear about her from him, and she just seems really great. So
She is really great. I
I'm
mean, I've
I'm
only seen her on
very
Tumblr,
happy.
but yeah, she is really great.
I'm very happy for the both of them. I miss you, Matt. I do miss you, and I can't wait for you to get back.
John is no
But
fucking substitute.
that's not what I mean. John, I would hang out with you any day. You just did a fabulous job producing my show last night.
Yes, indeed.
For
With the Insomniacs playlist, which if people
Yes.
aren't listening to it on a Tuesday night, then by goodness, you damn well should be.
And last night was a great one because we were celebrating H.P. Lovecraft, and today is his birthday. So happy birthday to Lovecraft, and me being the horror fan that I am, and it meaning so much to me.
That sounds like you said me being
It's,
the whore fan that you are.
I
Like
am
you.
I am a fan of horrors as well. Yeah, I am. What
Sorry.
are you gonna do? The
Talking
uh,
accents, you know.
he means uh, he means a lot to my world. Horror would not be the same without him, and there's no question about that. So,
Whore
okay.
wars would not be the same without him. You know. Wars
So
between rival gangs of prostitutes.
of the yeah, well, it'd be kind of like Sin City, or like one half of Sin
Yeah.
City.
James like, yeah, please derail my show with your stupid accent-based puns.
I don't even care. So, um, all right. So the movie we're talking about tonight is Bad Milo, and let me give you an idea here. So a man has so much stress in his life that a creature has grown inside his digestive tract and pops out now and then to kill whomever is causing him problems. Basically, that means that he has given birth to a poop demon. I don't really know
Oh,
how
it's an
else.
ass demon, isn't it? It's not
That's
something.
demon.
It's not like it's made of poop. It's sort of
Well, no,
made of.
he just sort
Which
of poops it
the
out.
the Milo doll puppet, whatever it is. The design is kind of nice because yeah, okay, you've got like the big snapping teeth and the kind of whatever and the big eyes, so that it's got some articulation. But the rest of it is made to look like a kind of knotted up ball of kind of sinew and tissue and
Hmm.
that kind of thing. It's got a nice sort of and I guess colon. I guess it's got that kind of look to it, and it's fun and it's slightly more articulate than the severed twin in Basket Case, but not much more.
Not much more. He's cute though. He does have cute little expressive blinky eyes.
He does,
Um,
yeah.
and do you know what he reminds me of? What do you call that Japanese creature? The the it's always in the pictures running away from the kittens or chasing the kitten. You know, it's
Oh,
like
with the
a
big square head? Is
yes.
it Domo or something?
Yeah, that's what it reminds me of. But
Was that the right word? I don't know.
I think so. Um
I know what
but
you mean
anyway,
though. It's got like the
he's
big square head.
cute.
Yeah.
So God, what was his name? The what was Marino's name in the
Ken Marino's name in the movie is Duncan.
Duncan? Oh, how did I forget that? The whole time, every time anyone said his name, I thought about Duncan McLeish, the wonderful Scotsman,
Oh,
and
Scottish guy.
the
He's gonna
whole
love
time
me
this
doing the
film.
accent.
Yeah.
Especially right now as the Scots fucking hate the English.
He loves me doing the accent. If that tells you something, then yeah,
Wow,
he
if a Scotsman likes a Yank doing an accent, wow, you are on the right
exactly.
track, my darling.
I am. That's how I'm able to build my Scottish army. But
Nice.
so Duncan, he's having a hard time at work. He's suddenly been pulled out of his normal job as an accountant and told that he's going to be in human resources for a while because he has to fire a bunch of people. And
By
I
none
love it.
other than Patrick Warburton, who I would have to say is probably my second favorite person in the movie.
Oh, for sure. He delivers a stand-up performance. It is really good. And he says one of my favorite lines is he's like, you're going to be in human resources, and he's like, "What? I'm an accountant. I don't know anything about humans."
Yeah. Right.
And there really are some pretty funny moments in this film. I actually laughed out loud a couple of times. But really, what I felt like toward the like I don't know in the third act, I sort of got distracted and lost. But so the idea is he's got a lot of stress at work. He's got a lot of stress at home. His mom is shacked up with this young guy who they are very inappropriate with each other at the dinner table, and
Yeah.
he wants him to call him daddy, and then he's like, "No, don't call me daddy. That's reserved for someone else." Talking about the guy's mom. It's just he's just not happy. He's not having good times,
No.
and he's having all of these stomach issues. So the film actually opens with him at the doctor's office, where they discover a polyp. And the scene with the doctor, I think, is pretty funny. Where he's trying to describe his medical issues, and he's not at all being very doctorly. I mean, he's
No.
just like, well, you got a what does he say? You got a trooper in your pooper. And
Yeah. Well, the thing with this movie is, and I've been trying to analyze what it is that kind of derailed it, because on the surface, there's some nice writing. The cast is strong throughout. Um, the idea they take off in lots of different tangents and make it sort of a metaphor parallel for lots of different things, which we can get into later. Um, I don't think necessarily the film stock or the video stock or whatever they've used is great. I think this hampers a lot of uh, DTV or B movies now. Um, it's not all that knowing. It's not one of those like nudge, nudge, wink, wink. We're doing basket case. Look how like 70s throwback we're being or 80s throwback we're being. There's not a lot of that in it, although obviously that is a component. So it's tough to know where this falls down, except maybe in the pacing and except maybe in the whole idea that sustaining a movie about a arse demon or whatever is probably a little harder than they first thought of going in. You know what I mean? I don't know.
well, it's classified as both a comedy and a horror film, according to Netflix, and I just don't see the horror in this at all. I mean, to
Right.
me, this is just a straight up comedy. I mean, there's some blood because the little demon is running around killing people, but it's just not. There are no
That's a
horror
really good
elements.
point, actually.
Yeah.
It's not got the. At least with. I'm going to keep saying basket case because honestly, if you've seen it, it's the
Well, that's
closest.
okay because I'm going to keep saying The Brood because it reminds me of a
Right?
comedic
Yes.
version of The Brood.
Yes, that's true. There is a brood element to it. There's a basket case. I think I go for basket case just because of the funny inanimate rubber monster that's in both movies that kind of scurries around, and they do solve the problem of like the scurrying in this because they do it in noise and in little flashes. You don't as you do in basket case see some sort of badly animated thing going across the floor, which is to its benefit. But I think you're right. I think where it falls down is it's not horrific or even tense or scary at any point. Um, and I think you can tell in its writing that it very definitely decides from the outset to be a comedy film rather than a horror film. Whereas something like Basket Case, it's very much a horror film, like the way it's shot, the way it's
Mhm.
lit, the way it's always at night, the way it's a seedy downtown New York hotel. Like everything about it is clearly a horror film. You know, Cronenberg can't make anything remotely light or fluffy, so everything about The Brood is exactly that. It's brooding. I mean, just everything from the score to the way it's shot to the way it's acted is sort of dark and weird and brooding and you know, it's got that feel to it. And Milo has I tell you what Milo has. It has an absence of atmosphere in any of the scenes.
I agree with that. And particularly anything horrific or lending to a horror film. Now, people out there are probably thinking, how are you name checking things like Basket Case and The Brood, and then yet you're adamantly saying that this is not a horror film? Well, because the elements, as far as plot go, are kind of similar. The reason I'm calling it, the reason that The Brood sticks in my mind, is because in The Brood you have this woman who gives birth and not traditionally, but not in a traditional manner, but she does give birth to her dark emotions, to her fear. And when so her fear or her anger is raised, then these creatures come out and they go out and kill whatever is the cause of that. And that's basically the idea behind what Milo is. When Duncan's ire is up for whatever reason, then this little dude pops out of his rear end and goes and takes care of business. However, uh, just because the basic idea is the same does not mean that they're anywhere even close. And so this is just not horror. I mean, not in any way, shape, or form does it even pretend. There's no attempt. I don't think the filmmakers even attempted to make it a horror film. I don't think that was ever in their scope. If it was, then they need to do some serious looking into what what makes a horror film. I think it probably got labeled that way simply because there is some blood
Yeah, and
and
because it
a
goes
little
off and
creature,
kills people. Yeah.
and there's a blood and a little creature, and but there's blood and killing in Pulp Fiction, and that's not a horror film. So it's
I mean,
it
and
takes
before
more than
people go,
that.
well, horror can't be silly like this, I would direct you to Killer Clowns from Outer Space, which is completely silly, but also does have a kind of creepy, horrific element to it. Like, it is kind of weird and odd enough that it can kind of send the odd shiver up your bone, despite it being a big rubber clown monster, you know?
I'll bet someone out there is going to say Gremlins, even,
Sure.
but with Gremlins, the difference is that with something like Gremlins, it is very dark. There are a lot of dark moments
Yeah,
in that
Dante
film.
knows how to do black comedy properly. Yeah, yeah,
And
really.
and that's it too. The comedy is black. Here the comedy is just outright comedy. I
Mm.
mean, you have a scene where his mother, where he is, with the cell phone scene, where he calls his mom, and she answers the phone, and he doesn't say anything, and his wife is standing there, and she's like, "Did he say anything? Did he say anything?" And his mom's like, "No, he probably just butt dialed me." And then the woman slaps herself on the ass and says, "Butt dial."
Yeah,
Which I actually laughed out loud at that point because it was completely out of character for that woman. I thought,
right.
the way her demeanor, I thought it was really funny. But
Well, the whole scene where they're having dinner, I mean, the thing that really I think the problem with it being written the way it is that there are certain scenes that completely take you out of the reality of the movie because they've gone for the comedy sketch element of it. I mean, Ken Marino is still most famous for The State and his David Wayne movies and so on. And it completely takes you out of the movie that you're watching when you're trying to invest in, before Milo even appears, and you're trying to invest in this idea that this guy has essentially a dodgy stomach. Every time he gets stressed, he reacts in the bowel, and he's like clutching his stomach, and there's bubbling noises, and he's sweating and whatever because he's getting really anxious and stressed. It takes you out of it if one of the things that's stressing him out is the fact that while he's having dinner, a normal family dinner with his mum and her new boyfriend, the boyfriend is sat there being completely unrealistic, talking about like the sex that he has with his mum, which no one, I don't care like how shitty the boyfriend is that your mum might decide to take up with, that's not going to happen in any kind of real situation. But not only that, but then the mum invites a fertility doctor who then sits down and is this comical character who's like, no, I should like examine you tonight and blah, 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 and starts talking. And I understand that one of the things, and this is another good example with The Brood, is that they're one of the main strands of the movie, seemingly out of nowhere, because it doesn't begin the film this way, but seemingly out of nowhere, the other strand of the movie is that Gillian Jacobs, Ken Marino's wife, wants to get pregnant. And there is this fear of being pregnant. There's this fear at the job of having to fire people. Like, there's a lot of stress. You know, he doesn't know his dad. You know, his mum shacked up with a younger person. There's all this stuff. But instead of the stress being manifested in a real way, it's manifested mainly in this dining table scene, which is complete and utter comedy, completely devoid of any reality that the movie is trying to exist in. And while it's funny, that scene is funny, it completely and utterly takes you away from giving two shits about what Ken Marino's going through, because it's not really anything you can relate to at any point at all, because no one's going to invite a fertility doctor. And it's not even at the beginning. If it was at the beginning of dinner, it would be one thing, but it's not. He just seemingly walks into the scene and it's just like, hi, I'm a fertility doctor. And you're not watching Monty Python and the Meaning of Life, so it doesn't really make a lick of sense why this is happening. And you come across this a lot, and that is, for a movie to be successful, even a movie about an arse demon, or even a movie about a mum who's shacked up with a guy who's younger, or whatever it is, if you watch David Wayne movies where surreal stuff can happen, it's all within the framework of the movie that he set up to begin with. So there's never a point in Wanderlust, for example, where they go to the hippie commune or whatever, where you're suddenly watching it and you go, well, wait a minute, this wouldn't be happening within the framework of this movie, and it takes you out of it. Everything that happens, as crazy as it is, as weird as it is, as funny as it is, happens within the framework. And that's not the same for Milo, and that's another thing that's a problem. I'm going to be quiet and let you talk again.
Well, no, I mean, you make some extremely valid points, and I'll add to that. Another thing that happens when he's at the doctor, and the doctor tells him, you've got this polyp, and he's like, we're going to go in, and his whole description of the removal of this polyp is just completely unprofessional. He's like, yeah, basically, we're going to go in, and we're going to have this electrified loop, and we're going to wrap it around the polyp, and then we're going to pop it off like we're popping a plum off a tree, with an electrified loop. And I like, okay, if my doctor ever said that to me, I'd probably walk out. But I mean,
Right.
Who wants to go through a procedure after you just described it that way? But then he tells him, I'm going to put you in touch with a professional. I think you need to have a therapist, to help you settle into this idea and to go with it. Okay, now the first odd thing about that is that he hasn't just diagnosed the man with colon cancer. He hasn't said that you are going to die, or you're going to have to go through these horrible treatments, or this is going to be really. All he said is, we have found a polyp, we're going to remove it. It's a simple procedure. The end. I mean, there is nothing.
Well, he talks about, Ken
point,
Marino talks about spending 90 minutes through the course of a day on the toilet.
And he does say that that's disturbing. But I imagine if you have the polyp the size of the one that they found that it
Right.
probably would be disturbing to go to the bathroom. But there's nothing definitive here that says, hey, you're going to die. There's nothing definitive here that requires the use of a therapist at this point.
Right.
So then enter Peter Stormare as this therapist,
He's the best thing in the movie.
He's insane, and I love him, but it makes no sense at all, because I mean, as far as he just sort of comes out of nowhere, because he's this like wild I don't know, he's like this wild hippie therapist who, wants to hypnotize him and all this stuff. And he's got this parrot that he screams at. And I mean, it's really funny and it's really engaging.
Right.
And I enjoy his character quite a bit. But it's just another thing that is way outside the realm of reality within the context of this film. So never, even at this point, are you thinking, oh, I get it. I can relate to this guy. No, you can't. This is nothing that would happen to anyone ever.
Yeah, and it's not just the reality. It's like you say, it's the reality of the film. You set it up, and it's got to run the. Another movie that's very close to this movie is Office Space.
I thought of that movie so many times while I was watching this.
But again, this.
But I think Office Space does it better.
Of course, no, because the comedy in Office Space is you take a stereotype, or you take a cliche, or you take a character that you may indeed come across. From the bum neighbor to the mumbly boss to the, Stephen Root
Just a
character.
moment.
Sorry.
Just a moment.
Just a moment, yeah. To that one, to the guys who come in and reassessing it, and they're saying, "So we see you've been missing a lot of work." Well, I wouldn't say I've been missing it, Bob. That whole scene, which is amazing, but it all works within its own framework. Bad Milo is it's like a state sketch that kind of, without it being handled as well as David Wayne would handle it if he was making a movie. You know, if David Wayne had made this movie, it would have been, you know, it would have worked a lot better, I think, in a weird way. There's something falls apart in the direction and the way it's put together. But you know, Stormare and his parrot is a prime example. Like, Stormare starts off this one character with this parrot and the way it's written and so on, and it's kooky and it's weird and it's odd and so on. But then he like halfway through the movie, because the narrative demands him to be Marino's right hand man, and Marino the guy who's going to help him solve this problem, and so on and so forth. The parrot goes away, his character goes away, like nothing about it's just a function of the story, and it just keeps on going. You know, Marino has no friends in this film at all. He has no best friend. He has no
But
group
yet
of
he's
friends.
described as a very nice, likable
Right.
guy. In the very beginning, they actually use the words to describe him that way. And he is a guy that you can see being a very popular, well-liked guy.
Right.
You know, I would see no reason in the world for him to not. I mean, he has a lovely wife. They have a lovely home. You know, he has.
But you don't get her being with him much either, because he's not like a nice guy to her at all.
No, I mean, well, I didn't actually see anything that led me to believe, at least from going into this. I mean, because they're already in this relationship when we meet them, just like he's already in this job when we meet them. So I'm only led to believe that his job before this stuff went down in the very beginning of the film was just normal. He was a normal accountant. That's the way he comes off. He had projects that he had to do. He
Mm.
had presentations he had to prepare. It was, normal stuff. And then suddenly this whole firing a bunch of people seemed to come out of nowhere. I mean, I feel like we got blindsided with this stuff as much as he did.
Right. Yeah, well, because
And
it makes
that's the
you
way I feel
wouldn't.
about every relationship in this film.
Yeah, it just also it doesn't make a lick of sense. I mean, Patrick Warburton sells it very well. He's the right side of Office Space. He's not, he's not doing. Is it Gary Cole?
Gary
On
Cole,
Office?
and yeah, but his performance did put me in mind of Gary Cole quite a bit
Right.
because they're very similar. They're similar characters, but they both do it in their own way. But I think he he was fantastic. Patrick Warburton really was. He
But it's
was.
almost like this whole movie in the first 10 minutes is setting up people that Milo can kill, rather than setting up our main character very well.
Oh, I would totally agree with that. Basically, it's just set him up and knock him down. I mean, as soon as you find out what his issue is, you've already got a list of people in your head. I mean, you're like checking them off like Steve Buscemi and Billy Madison. You got that list hanging on the wall by your
Sure.
sofa of people that he's going to run out and kill. I mean,
I
I'm
love the
already
movies
putting on.
we're referencing talking about
I
this
know.
film.
I'm already putting on my lipstick,
Sure.
and waiting for this to happen. So
I had
it's
mine on before the movie started, but
So, I mean, there's no surprise there. There was when he finally goes to see his estranged father, who's played by Stephen Root.
yeah.
Um, there is absolutely no surprise in the resolution at the end of the film that what we find out about his father. None whatsoever. I mean, from the first 5 minutes that he was talking to his father, I got it right away.
Right.
And it's just, and oh, you were earlier, I wanted to say, you were talking about the direction of the film. I honestly think this film would have been more successful if it had been darker. I would have loved to have seen something with some tension, some atmosphere, something that
Oh,
wasn't quite
completely. Yeah.
so transparent the entire way. You could telegraph it from as soon as you find out what the problem is, you can telegraph the rest of the film.
It's odd to me that comedy never really learned from. If you look at Life of Brian, or you look at something like Man with Two Brains, or you look at something like that, both completely silly comedies, but both filmed like actual movies. You know what I mean? Like when it's dark in Life of Brian, it's dark and it's lit properly. And when it's meant to be, you think of the raid on Pilot's Palace, where you see like the shadows of the guys going down under the building, and you've got flickering of torches and like everything like that is really beautifully done. Or you look at the bits at the end of Man with Two Brains when it's at night and he's running around and he's trying to figure stuff out, and he's got the card sequence. It's done like a real movie. Like the movie, it contains the comedy very well because you're on a firm footing and a strong structure in terms of actual filmmaking. With this, it's just lit like bam bada, and we're doing comedy. You know, it's
It
all just
feels like a
bright light.
television show throughout
Yes,
to me. It has all the atmosphere of a Carol Burnett sketch comedy.
and
And
there's something about modern. You know, there's a lot of talk about, video cameras and digital cameras, and oh, we can do this now and we can do that, and anyone can make a movie and it's cheaper and so on. I think the main problem with these things is that unless you light it correctly, it can be a real problem, and it just ends up looking, like you say, like a TV show or just a very cheap movie. You know, you look at something like Red State, and a lot of people will condemn Kevin Smith for their own reasons. But you look at Red State, and that movie,
which I happen to like quite a bit.
I love that movie. But that movie, for a shot on video, cheap film, is fucking lit properly. Like it genuinely looks like dark, grainy, gritty when you're in the world of, what's meant to be the Westboro Baptist. I forget their name in the movie. But when you're in that world, like it is genuinely, horrifying and cold and dark. Like there's an atmosphere to it, and there's still a bunch of comedy and there's still a bunch of stuff going on, but there's an atmosphere to it. And this movie is flat and not very imaginative, and like you say, shot like a TV show.
Do you feel like anytime we're in the office building that if the cameraman were to slip and pan up just like 2 inches, you'd see the top of the set?
Oh yeah, completely. Oh,
That's
especially the
exactly.
scene.
I never feel like do I ever feel like I'm outside of a movie set,
No,
or a television set, even not even not the television set that sits in my living room,
right.
but not
I
that
know what you
anyone
mean.
even calls them that anymore. But but I never for one second feel like I'm not on a soundstage or like
Right.
I'm not.
The
It
most
doesn't
notable one was
feel.
the bathroom right at the very beginning. It's interesting you said that because I thought this straight away. There's a early scene where he, after all the stress of the dinner and everything, he runs to the bathroom, and the bathroom just seems to be too big and square or something about it. But you go, oh, that's a set. You immediately know it's a set. You immediately know, like you say, if the camera went a little right, a little left, or a little up, or a little down, you would see the edge of the set. It's very, very odd. And I thought there was a bit also when he goes through the transformation, because obviously Milo comes in and goes back up his arse throughout the whole movie.
Yeah, in and out, in and out, in and out.
There was a couple of, first of all, that's,
It's like a scene in Cruising.
yeah, you. First of all, you have to suspend. Hey, Iris is in the chat room. Hey, Iris.
Hi, Iris.
First of all, you have to suspend disbelief straight away that this thing would be able to climb in and out of his ass without one presumes him being ruptured severely. But there was an attempt, I think, to do a nice, almost American Werewolf in London transformation initially, with him like gripping the side of the thing and shots of his sweaty face and
Oh, that's an excellent call. Excellent call, because I can totally see that.
yeah, shots of his pants and stuff. But they bail on it halfway through. They bail on the idea. They go, oh, we're going to do a couple of Dutch angles here, a couple of shots of his thing here, shots of sweaty face, shots of bulging out, and then he's just going to fall on the thing and then away go. Like, they kind of bail on it. Like, it would have almost been more appealing and stylistically interesting if they'd gone, no, this first time that Milo appears, we are going to do to the best of our ability, even if you don't actually see him emerge from the butt, which may be one step too much. But we are going to do within the shots, within the sound, within everything. We are going to do an American Werewolf in London transformation sequence. And they start it, but they bail on it, and it's kind of disappointing.
Here's another question I had. Um, the first time he emerges, it is painfully, and I mean that in a literal sense, painfully obvious that he knows that there is something coming out of him.
Right.
And then it runs off and kills Alistair, his cubby,
Yeah.
or QB, sorry, his QB, his roommate in the bathroom that is now his office at work. Um,
Which again is weird because the only reason he kills him is because Alistair, who's this big flabby moron, deletes something off his computer that Alistair is using when he shouldn't be using his computer, which only like just happens. Alistair has not been set up as an incompetent. He's just been set up as a bit of a dolt, but he's not been set up as
and annoying, but not angering.
Yeah.
Not to the point that you'd want to kill him.
And he's given all too brief a setup for him suddenly to be the first person on the list. You know what I mean? It seems a bit odd that would happen rather than his boss. It would
certainly. We didn't spend any time with him at all, and that's immediately what I thought of when he came up dead. I was like, well, what the hell did he do? And then he goes to the therapist, and Peter Stormare is like, oh, you may not have wanted to kill him in your brain, but you wanted to kill him in your heart. I'm like, why? He didn't even know him. I mean, like, he didn't spend any time with him at all.
Yeah, I mean, all he did was delete something he'd been working on for like 6 months or something.
So, I mean, but that's not that's not enough of a reason. Considering everything else that's going on in this guy's life, I don't see him being number one on the list. I just don't.
Right.
But okay, so he pops out and goes and kills Alistair, and then at some point he comes back. Somehow Duncan is unaware of the fact that Milo has come back, and
well, because he's passed out on the bathroom floor.
Yeah, but you know damn well that's going to wake him up. If okay, based on the other times that we see him re-emerge, or rather reclaim his home and his anus, then, and it's an extremely I don't know. It's a stressful event for him. It's a painful event. He's well aware that it's happening.
Yeah.
I don't see him at any point being able to sneak back in without him knowing
I agree.
that. And that immediately, I was like, wait a minute, are there two? I mean, because I was like, how in the hell? There must be two. How in the hell did he get back in and he didn't know?
Yeah.
And but clearly, no, there's not two. There's just the one. And so that, to me, is a glaring hole that just bothers the shit out of me. No pun intended. But it bothers me because like that doesn't even make any sense, because the entire film is just sequence after sequence of him coming out and going back in, and every time is just as painful as the time before.
Right.
So it doesn't make any sense at all that the first time he goes back in he wouldn't notice. That's just, that's just something that stuck with me. But
it's the thing about the movie that's kind of frustrating is it is very well performed. Everyone does their work very, very well. Ken Marino's great. I've loved him in almost everything he's done. I think he's better playing an overt character, like if you've seen him in Party Down, or if you've seen him as the obnoxious brother in Wanderlust, or any of the characters he plays in David Wayne movies. Or if you've seen him as like the sleazy private eye in Veronica Mars, or any of those roles, he's much better when he's doing a character. He's almost less good when he's just playing everyday man schlub, although he does an okay job in this. But he's not, he's not your everyday man. He doesn't quite sell it, but he does as good a job as he can do. I wonder if you had someone like Paul Rudd or someone, or Jason Bateman or whatever, I wonder whether that would be better. But again, you see, Jason Bateman and Paul Rudd are two people who I think are much better when they're doing characters, but they never get given characters. They get given everyday man schlubs. But their everyday guys are more sort of recognizable than Marino's to some extent. But still, he's doing a good job. Stormare does a great job at the beginning of the movie. By the end of the movie, he just becomes like a facilitator for the action. All his character is kind of gone.
And I don't blame that on him. I think
it's not on him at all. It's on the script.
Every fault with this film rests on direction.
Yeah.
And
I think weirdly enough, Stephen Root doesn't quite know what he's doing, and that's odd because he normally knows what he's doing in a role.
And that should the living in a tent hippie father should be a role that he would just knock out of the park. Only he seems lost. I mean, he really does seem like I don't even, he seems confused. Like I have no idea what I'm doing here. Is
He's
this right?
definitely
I don't know.
sleeping through the role.
I'll walk off. I'll just walk off camera now. Like he doesn't. I mean, there's a scene where he just walks off camera, and I'm like, I think that was real. I think he was so confused he just wandered off because
He
I
was
don't
looking for
feel
his stapler. That's what it was.
I don't feel like anyone was given any. And the job of a director is to lead a film. You can have all the fantastic performers that you want, but if you don't put them in the right places and give them a good idea of where to go, then this is what you're going to get. You're going to get a very disjointed film with a lot of things going on, and none of them seem to mesh. None of them seem to be very cohesive. And honestly, the end, even though you saw it coming from 16 miles away, you saw exactly how the film was going to end, and the message that they've been hammering into the entire time. You knew what it was going to be. That by the time it got there, it just felt like it didn't even know what it wanted to be. I
Yeah, the
really
conclusion is
feel
not satisfying.
I mean, it's not. And even though it concludes exactly the way you would anticipate that it would, as far as the story goes, the film itself just doesn't reach a satisfying conclusion to me.
No.
There's one little scene I do like where his parents are having a party and he's been chasing Milo all over town and he ends up at this party. And there's kind of a scene where the party goers grab up the bug
Tiki torches.
the tiki torches, and it's kind of funny to see them standing around with the
Right.
tiki torches like they're chasing a monster or whatever. I get
Yeah.
that, and it's cute. But again, there's these little moments that do actually work within the film. Unfortunately for me, just were not enough to bring the whole thing together, because I felt like it honestly felt to me like there were so many people on, like, I even wonder if the director was there. Was he absent maybe, and they were left to just sort of to fend for
Yeah,
themselves?
you're right. It does feel very kind of loose around the edges. It doesn't feel like it's corralled enough into into a logical setup. I think also there wasn't any rules about Milo. Like Peter Stormare went, well, he is part of you, so we know you can't kill it. And we know you have to kind of befriend it, and we know you have to calm down, and we know you have to face your anger. But that was never played out, and Milo kind of lost any metaphor or anything when that wasn't resolved. It wasn't resolved in a way where you went, oh, that made sense. It was resolved in a way where they physically crippled Milo, so he just couldn't attack people anymore. They didn't kill him; they just physically crippled him, so he can't attack people anymore. And he went back up his butt. And I'm like, but that's not what you were saying at the beginning of the movie. The whole point of the movie is him getting to a point where he can deal with his life, and he never gets to a point where he can deal with his life. He just gets to a point where he can deal with Milo, and that's not the same thing.
And it's certainly not. And then you have.
And I'm sorry if I spoiled the end of
the.
the movie, people, but whatever.
No, it's fine. You do have this scene where he's cradling Milo after they've basically crippled him and kept him from hurting people. So they haven't calmed him down. They've just stopped him. And then he's cradling him and he's like, "No, he's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. I know you just did this for me. Go back home." So basically, he sticks him right up his butt again. But this Duncan has in no way changed anything about himself or the way that he deals with anything.
This is the point. You're right. We're on. This is the whole reason. The movie sets it up as one thing, that Milo, although yes, corporeal and is going around killing people, is a manifestation of him and his anger and his emotions and his things, and he's got stuff in his life to deal with, right? Then halfway through the movie, the stuff in his life he has to deal with is only Milo. All that other stuff goes away. And I guess because they think, well, Milo killed the boss, so he doesn't have to deal with his job anymore. And I'm like, well, but that doesn't work. Just because the boss is gone doesn't mean the job's not stressful. Or
well, then suddenly at the end of the film, he is leading the company. Where the fuck did that come from?
Right. He set up his own company. That's his own company.
So it's nothing is really resolved. It just sort of stops.
Yeah, the through line of the movie.
Tied up with Bo, because he's feeding his father. at the end of the film, so their relationship is okay. They're,
Well,
he started his own
the,
company, they have a baby,
yeah. The
but
twist is
there's
we've got. I mean, the twist is if you're talking about feeding the father, and again we're going to spoil the movie, but the twist is, wouldn't you know it, Stephen? This is no. We have to bring this up because this also doesn't make a lick of sense. Stephen Root has his own butt baby essentially, and it's kind of funny how when his butt baby comes out, it's all old. There's lots of things that doesn't make any sense though. The thing that doesn't make any sense is Stephen Root doesn't say anything about his butt baby when his son comes to him and clearly has an episode in the toilet that would indicate that he too has a butt baby. That's the first thing. I don't care what kind of asshole father you are, especially if Stephen Root has escaped to the woodlands because he knows that he can't do anything about his Milo that's up, or Ralph in his case, up his bum, so he has to go and escape and he has to stay away from people, and this is the way he's dealt with it. He wouldn't be this person that would be like non-talking with his son or non-communicative. Once he realized his son was going through problems as well, and his problems may, by the indication of the bathroom scene in the outhouse at his like woodland retreat, would indicate that he too has a butt baby, that you would actually be like, oh shit, it's going through my son as well, I need to talk to him about it. That would be the first thing. So that didn't fucking happen. Secondly, his mum, who knows all about it, doesn't say anything when he's clearly showing signs of this happening. So that's a major problem. Then when Ralph emerges in the psychiatrist's office when Stephen Root's character gets stressed, Milo kills Ralph, which I'm like, why would Milo be angry at Ralph? Milo would be angry at that. That doesn't make any sense either. I know this sounds ridiculous to be talking about making sense in a movie that is about an arse demon, but what I'm trying to say is you can make a movie about an arse demon, but it has to have a fucking through line to work or hang together. And this goes way off the rails. Whereas under the surface of this movie, you have a really nice metaphor about a dad or a future dad trying to deal with becoming a father, and you have a really nice metaphor or a really nice message about corporate America. You have a really nice message about these two things that's definitely in the movie, but is never given the chance to really flourish and really be the point of the movie, because suddenly it's also a monster movie where Milo isn't a metaphor, it's suddenly an actual monster that needs to be dealt with physically, and that's it. It loses everything it sets up, and that's why it's a disappointing film.
Oh, I completely agree with that. I think it loses sight of everything that it wants to be. And it almost feels like they're running, they're running, they're running, they're running. They come full stop and they're like, oh shit, damn, we ran out of time and we didn't do shit with it.
Right.
So, real quick, let's tie everything up. Okay, he starts his own company. They have a baby. Everything's cool. He's with his father. The end. Everything's fine. We all learned our life lesson. But we didn't. At no point did he actually really come to. I mean, you never get to see his character make the changes that the whole film is based on his character making. It just sort of happens.
Yeah.
And so I think that what we have here is a good intention that is really just a mess. And,
yeah, it needs
yeah.
another pass on the script, and it needs a competent director is really what it needs, because it's. And I'm not saying that you should remove all the comedy, and I'm not saying that
No.
you should make it just a strict message movie, but there's so much nice stuff in there about corporate America and about the fear of future fatherhood. That's where the movie should be focusing on, and it loses sight of its metaphors and instead becomes a comedy monster movie that doesn't quite work.
If you're going to introduce those elements, then you need to follow through with those elements. If that's going to be the basis of your film, then don't abandon it.
Right.
Have them be there for some reason other than simply being plot devices, which is exactly what they end up being. They're nothing but reasons to have people set up for Milo to go after. That's really all it ends up being.
I mean, even Gillian Jacobs as the wife, not that she gets much to do, bless her, but she tries her best. But even her as the wife is a completely and utterly sort of subservient, dormant character. She doesn't have any feist or
I
spunk
don't
or
feel that we
sass
know
or anything
her
to
at
her at
all.
all.
I
No,
don't
right.
feel by the time we get to the end of the film, I don't know anything about her. I don't know anything about their real relationship together. They're just people wandering in and out of scenes. That's this entire film is just people wandering in and out of scenes with a little monster running around, and I just it's overall it it was disappointing because I do think it had some positive things about it. There were some funny moments, there were some good performances, and it had a solid cast. This film has all of all of the ingredients to end up with a bang up recipe, but in the end the cake just falls flat.
Wow. Wow. Look at that. This is why she's the podcast queen. Look at that. Tying that all up together and then making it the cake fell flat. Look at that right there. I am color me impressed. That's incredible. Now, if that had been on the 58-minute mark, it would have been perfect. But I don't know if you want to run until 9 or whether you want to run for the full hour. It's entirely up to you. We started late because of technical difficulties, but
We can just go till 9. I don't want to throw off the rest of the evening, but
well, the rest of the evening, which is me.
I don't want to throw you off.
Apart from obviously 10:30 to 11, we have the wonderful Mo Porn and Varsity McGaffin, who is who is going to be doing wrestling for half an hour. But apart from that, the rest of the evening, people, it's me. You got music with me next, followed by Crosstalk at 11. But
Right, and who do you have on Crosstalk tonight?
I have Jawson Brody, who also goes by many different names. Jade is her real name, and we're going to be talking action movies and being expats on opposite ends of the earth, because she's an expat down in Oz, and I am an expat in New York.
All right.
Jade
Well,
Lindley, I think her full name is. Yeah.
with our last couple of minutes, I just want to say once again, thank you, John, for joining me on this episode of Direct to Video Connoisseur in the
It's been a
absence of
pleasure.
Matt.
It's been an absolute pleasure.
I've missed him, but it has been an amazing time. I can't believe, honestly, that the hour went by as quickly as it did.
Iris is
didn't
saying
really-
that she loves us both, and then she said that she
Aw.
loves me, which is lovely. And I love you too, Iris.
I love you too, Iris. I didn't honestly think it would have that much to say about this film, but I tell you what, it opened right up, didn't it? It was wow.
It really did.
So, well, and I guess to wrap it up, do I recommend it? Eh. I don't know. I mean, it's kind of a mess. It is. It's kind of a mess. And
Yeah, it's not enough of a B movie to recommend it. It's not enough of a comedy to recommend it. It's not enough of a horror to recommend. Like there's just not
it's
enough
no
of any of it.
horror,
Yeah.
no horror.
Um,
So I can't really do that. So I'm just gonna say nah.
yeah,
I'm gonna say-
I honestly wouldn't recommend this, which seems weird because fucking Stormer, you know what I mean? And I'm a big Marino fan and Root fan and stuff. Like you say, the cast is impeccable, but Gary Hill is saying that he has a soft spot for it. Watch it once. I don't know.
I guess you can. Honestly, I would say if you want to get all the things that you could get from this film if it was more competently made, watch The Brood. Watch Basket Case. Watch Office Space, and then mix them all together, and that's I think what this could have been. But
it's what it could have been. It's not what it is. It's what it could have been.
what it could have been. Yeah, what it should have been. I don't know. It had all the elements. It should have been better. So, okay. Well, if you want to find me, you can find me on Twitter and Facebook, both at /Maven1974. You can email me at Maven1974@gmail.com. Also, tune in next Tuesday night live right here on this channel at 11 p.m. Eastern for the next episode of the Insomniacs playlist.
Yes.
Or you can listen to the archived 2 episodes that I have already. Last night's episode, like I said earlier, was celebrating that of celebrating H.P. Lovecraft in song. So that was a good time. And next week, John will be joining me again because Matt will still be out. So look forward to that because I guarantee you it's going to be a good time. Have we decided what we're going to be talking about?
We haven't yet, no.
Okay. Yeah, so that's how we do it on the show. You never know. You just
No.
kind of show up. You kind of show up and hope it's good.
Yeah.
And then stay tuned for later in the evening for music from John. And
Yes.
then
Coming up right now.
some
Which I'm
wrestling.
nervous about because I slept all afternoon and have not planned a single thing. I don't have crosstalk written yet. I've got to write that in the half an hour that Mo is doing wrestling, which I can imagine is the quickest half an hour on the planet because it's just going to whiz by as I'm sat here panicking trying to write crosstalk. I've not planned any of my music that's coming up in 2 minutes, which I'm panicking about. So we are just going to get the mountain goats for an hour and a half. Sorry guys, but that's the way it's going to be.
That is okay with me.
That's okay with Jamie. That's fine. But I want to say that listening to the two Insomniac playlists, if anyone was in any doubt that Jamie isn't a queen, then listen to those two because she even turns her hand to music DJing in a way that is inspirational and awesome, because she makes a cracking playlist. She has a reason for everything. She ties it all together with an incredible theme every week, and it's inspiring. It's awesome. So not only is she an awesome podcaster, but by God, can she put together a musical playlist? So join her every week at 11 o'clock for even more fantasticness, because it's just awesome to witness. So no, you've got to keep doing that because that's incredible. I'm still, in terms of DJing, I'm still floundering about. I still don't plan too many things, but you've got your hour licked and sorted already. So wow, incredible.
Thank you. You just made me blush.
No, I honestly, because I just sit here on the other end just pressing play, normally at the wrong point, normally
You do a fabulous
fucking
job,
up your
truly.
perfection. But you really do. You've really knocked it out the park with Insomniac's playlist, and it should be 2 hours long. You should start it at 10. But
I actually considered making it longer. I had such a good time last night, and
yeah,
there were so many other things that I would have loved to have fit into the playlist. I mean, an hour because with my yammering along with the songs, you don't get a whole lot of songs, and I actually considered making it longer, but I don't know. That's something I guess I can I can mull about between because currently I'm the only thing going on Tuesday
she's the
night.
only thing happening on Tuesday nights.
So
Yeah.
I can do with that what I choose, I guess. And so I may attempt to do a longer show because I got to tell you, it's a lot of fun.
It is a
It's a
lot of
whole
fun.
lot of
I mean,
fun.
that's what I feel about the DJing on this radio station is that it's a lot of fun. And I have to say, I've immensely enjoyed Direct to Video Connoisseur, like you say. Bad Milo opened right up. There's a lot to talk about. There's a lot to think about, and it's one of those where you just wish it was better, and it's you just wish it was it had more going for it, or to someone had got the script and went, no, you can't do this. You set all this stuff up at the beginning. You've got to pay it off at the end, and yeah, so it's a shame, but a lot of potential there. In terms of where you can find me, everything is linked from www.aftermoviediner.com. And anywhere you find After Movie Diner, 'tis me behind it. So you can Google After Movie Diner, and if it's a Facebook, if it's a Twitter, if it's a Tumblr, whatever it is, that is me. So yeah, you can do aftermoviediner.com. All the links are there. I would urge people listening to this who aren't already members to go to aftermoviediner.com and click on our Facebook group ad that's on the right-hand side and become a member of the Facebook group. We have awesome movie chat there all day, every day.
And
So
we also have a Facebook group for direct to video. So find your way there if you haven't found it yet, and then be there.
be there. Yes, indeed. Be there. So, yeah, coming up in, let's say, 5 minutes, I might take a 5-minute break just so I can advertise it, take a pee, whatever. But coming up in 5 minutes, I will be playing music for the next hour and a bit till 10:30. And I'm going to try and play some songs which were important to me when I was sort of 16 through to 26, like that decade of like music when I was discovering a whole bunch of new stuff. That's the theme. So.
That sounds awesome. I can't wait. All right. Well, thanks everyone for joining us this week, and we will see you again next week. Same time, same place. We'll be here, so hope you
Yep,
will
same
be too.
channel. Don't touch that dial. Second Unit Broadcast Network.
Bye.
Thank you.